The Gospel of Mark, the family of Jesus. Introduction. The ministry of Jesus in Galilee certainly drew the attention of many. Multitudes followed him everywhere. Mark 3, verse 7 and 8. Jesus' very life was endangered by the crowds. Mark 3, verses 9 and 10. The house where he stayed was besieged. Mark 3, verse 19b and 20. Mark 3, verse 20. The multitude came together again, so that they could not so much as eat bread. It also drew the attention of his physical family, who were concerned about what they heard. Mark 3, verse 21a. Who sought to take him into custody. Mark 3, verse 21b. For they even questioned his sanity. Mark 3, verse 21c. Mark 3, verse 21. When his friends heard it, they went out to seize him, for they said, "He is insane." The members of his family. His parents. Mary, his birth mother, a virgin until Jesus was born. Matthew 1, verses 18 through 25, and Luke 1, verses 26 through 38. Visited her cousin Elizabeth. Luke 1, verses 39 through 56. Gave birth to Jesus in Bethlehem. Luke 2, verse 1. Took Jesus to Jerusalem when he was 12. Luke 2, verses 48 through 51. Present with Jesus at a marriage in Cana. John 2, verses 1 through 10. Sought Jesus when he was teaching. Matthew 12, verse 46, Mark 3, verse 31, and Luke 8, verse 19. Present at the cross, committed to John's care. John 19, verse 27. With the disciples in Jerusalem following the ascension. Acts 1, verse 14. Joseph, his adoptive father, a descendant of David. Matthew 1, verses 1 through 16. Took Mary as wife, did not know her until Jesus was born. Matthew 1, verses 18 through 25. From Nazareth, enrolled at Bethlehem. Luke 2, verses 1 through 5. Presented Jesus at the temple in Jerusalem. Returned to Nazareth. Luke 2, verses 22 through 30. Fled to Egypt, later resettled in Nazareth. Matthew 2, verses 13 through 15 and verses 19 through 23. Took Jesus to Jerusalem when he was 12. Luke 2, verses 48 through 51. Supposed father of Jesus, a carpenter. Matthew 13, verse 55. Luke 3, verse 23, Luke 4, verse 22, John 1, verse 45, and John 6, verse 42. Jesus was blessed to be born of a virtuous woman and raised by a just man. His siblings, brothers, James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas, all four mentioned by name on one occasion. Mark 6, verse 3, and Matthew 13, verse 55. They accompanied Jesus and his mother from Cana to Capernaum. John 2, verses 11 and 12. Later, with Mary, they sought to see Jesus. Mark 3, verse 31, Matthew 12, verse 46, and Luke 8, verses 19 and 20. Sisters, Mary and Salome. There were at least two sisters, Matthew 13, verse 56, and Mark 6, verse 3. No names are given in the scriptures. Later, Christian literature gives the names Mary and Salome. Protevangelium of James 19, 3 through 24, and Gospel of Philip 59, 6 through 11. Epiphanius Pan 78, 8, 1, 78, 9, 6. Jesus was blessed to have a number of half-siblings. The misgivings in his family. Before his resurrection, some thought he was crazy. Mark 3, verse 21. They thought he is out of his mind. They endeavored to take custody of him. His brothers did not believe in him. John 7, verses 3 through 5. They taunted him to prove himself, to show himself openly to the world. When their brother claimed to be the Messiah, the Son of God, who can blame them? After his resurrection, Jesus appeared to James. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 8. His brothers became his disciples. Acts 1, verse 14. James became identified as the Lord's brother, a pillar in the church, likely author of the Epistle of James. Acts 12, verse 17, Acts 15, verse 13, Acts 21, verse 18, Galatians 1, verse 19, chapter 2, verse 19, and James 1, verse 1. Martyred by being thrown from the pinnacle of the temple, Josephus Eusebius. Joseph, little known, evidently became a traveling missionary, 1 Corinthians 9, verse 5. Simon, little known, likewise a traveling missionary, 1 Corinthians 9, verse 5. Judas, believed to be the author of the Epistle of Jude, Jude 1:1. Jesus' resurrection from the dead overcame any misgivings by his brothers. Conclusion. The initial unbelief of some members of his family is understandable. Mary never doubted, for she alone really knew the truth about Jesus' birth. But the doubt of his brothers was a normal reaction to his outlandish claims. Their initial unbelief and eventual faith can be thought-provoking. They did not believe despite the miracles of his ministry. Why not? Yet they later chose to follow his apostles and suffer for his cause. How come? The transformation in the skeptical members of Jesus' family is easily understood. If in fact Jesus did rise from the dead and appear to them afterward, thus the family of Jesus serves as a powerful testimony to the resurrection of Jesus. One last thought. If Jesus was not truly born of a virgin, what kind of mother would let her son suffer like Jesus did on the cross and not say a word? A simple admission that Joseph or someone else was the father of Jesus, and he could have come down from that cross. Her silence speaks volumes. This concludes the Gospel of Mark, the Family of Jesus, a PowerPoint study created by Gospel Outreach Association from Executable Outlines with permission from Mark A. Copeland.